The wolf does not seek to lead the pack. He walks alone, and yet every path bends to his presence. Ascenders, today we're tearing apart one of the most misunderstood truths about Sigma males. He's born to lead, but despises being in charge. That's not contradiction, that's code. Sigma males don't fit in traditional hierarchies because they were never designed to. They lead, not because they want control, but because their path is magnetic. Others follow, not because they're commanded, but because they feel compelled. You're not here to play follow the leader. You're here to transcend the game, and that's exactly what we do on Sigma Ascends. So if you're ready to step off the grid of fake authority, synthetic charisma, and over-polished alpha advice, you're in the right shadow. Hit that subscribe button, don't follow trends, start becoming ungovernable. 1. The Phantom Alpha, born beyond the hierarchy. Sigmas aren't just lone wolves, they're wolves who burned the map and rewrote the terrain. This isn't about rebellion, it's about indifference to structure. While alpha males fight for dominance, Sigmas simply step outside the fight. And when they do, something strange happens. Everyone still watches them. Why? Because hierarchy feeds on predictability. The Sigma thrives in unpredictability. The Phantom Alpha doesn't rise in ranks, he evaporates them. You can't outmaneuver someone who doesn't play the same game. And when you're outside the system, you see the weak spots others can't. In school, this guy was the quiet one who didn't raise his hand, but always knew the answer. At work, he's the one who doesn't climb the ladder, he builds his own scaffolding. In social circles, he doesn't chase attention, but ends up the center of gravity anyway. True power doesn't come from claiming the throne, it comes from making the throne irrelevant. That's the Sigma's energy. The burn of the spotlight. Why visibility feels like a cage. Ever try to trap a shadow? That's what it feels like trying to pin a Sigma male down with titles, recognition and praise. It backfires. Instead of fueling him, it suffocates him. The spotlight might look like glory to some, but to a Sigma, it's surveillance. It's eyes on his every move, expectations wrapped in gold, and constant pressure to perform the role of leader. He didn't sign up for that. He didn't audition. He doesn't want applause. He wants results. He'll reject the mic just to keep his message clean. Even when he's in positions of power, the Sigma resists the seduction of being seen. It's not humility, it's freedom, because the moment he becomes a brand, a mascot or a symbol, he loses what makes him lethal, his mystery. He'll drop the role before he lets it rewrite his code. 3. The autopilot commander, leadership without trying. Here's the mind bender. Sigma males lead without lifting a finger. People gravitate toward them, not because they bark orders, but because their clarity, confidence, and calm speak louder than commands ever could. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's magnetic. A Sigma walks into a room and reprograms its energy. He doesn't force control, he emits it. Others start to mirror his behavior, adopt his tone, follow his pace. Not because he told them to, because they want to. There's no strategy here, no manipulation. It's just raw presence. The Sigma is the standard. He doesn't push people. He pulls them into alignment just by existing with purpose. And that's why he hates being officially in charge, because the second he's labeled boss, he's stuck in a box. And a Sigma in a box is a Sigma planning an exit. The war on micromanagement, the Sigma's kryptonite. If you want to kill a Sigma's soul, hand him a checklist and tell him to manage a team by the book. Watch how fast his eyes glaze over. The Sigma male's mind is built for autonomy. He operates in deep flow, instinctive, efficient, fast. When someone tries to micromanage him, it's like trying to GPS track a lightning strike. You can't do it. And worse, the Sigma feels caged by bureaucracy, drained by endless check-ins, and insulted by unnecessary rules. He doesn't just resist being micromanaged, he refuses to micromanage others. Why? Because micromanagement is born out of distrust, and the Sigma doesn't need to control others to ensure excellence. He trusts that the right people rise when given space, and the wrong people, he doesn't waste time on them. This is why he avoids traditional leadership roles. They force him into unnatural rhythms, staff meetings, progress reports, performance reviews, all noise, all distraction, all structure for structure's sake. He believes in efficiency, but more than that, he believes in freedom, and micromanagement kills both. In his world, the highest form of leadership is to create a space where everyone becomes self-led, not through control, through example. 5. Nomad energy. Why the Sigma walks alone. Sigmas are nomads in the land of the permanent. They build, they grow, they shape, and then they leave. Not because they're unreliable, because staying too long means stagnation. Leadership positions expect permanence, structure, a long-term stake. The Sigma sees that as quicksand. He's allergic to repetition, and his growth comes from constant recalibration, not maintenance. That nomad energy doesn't mean he can't commit. It means his commitment is to motion, not anchors. He'll launch a business but hand off the CEO role the second it becomes routine. He'll lead a mission but step back the moment the mission needs a manager, not a trailblazer. This is often misunderstood. People see it as detachment, coldness. In reality, it's self-preservation of purpose. The Sigma needs new terrain to sharpen his edge. He's not interested in empire building. He's addicted to frontier making. The trail he walks isn't lonely. It's pure. No noise, no politics, just progress. He doesn't walk away from people. He walks away from anything that tries to own him. 6. The Command Allergy. Why he rejects titles. Titles are the ego's favorite toy. Director, boss, founder, chief. They create illusion. They convince people they're in control. The Sigma sees through all of it. He doesn't need a title to lead. He doesn't want one. Because titles come with baggage, expectations, social contracts, bureaucracy, and constant pressure to play a part. And he hates playing parts. Sigmas don't reject leadership itself. They reject the theater surrounding it. They hate the meetings before meetings, the nameplates, the email signatures with 6 acronyms. None of that matters to them. Impact matters. And most titles are more about posture than impact. Here's the paradox. People are often more willing to follow the Sigma because he rejects titles. They see that he's not in it for power. He doesn't crave recognition. That builds trust. It makes his leadership feel authentic, because it is. He'll lead a revolution and stay unnamed in the credits, not because he's shy, but because he knows who he is. And anyone who really knows who they are doesn't need the world to remind them. 7. The collapse of control, Sigmas and the chaos factor. Here's a truth that rattles the bones of traditional leaders. Control is an illusion. Sigmas don't just know this, they live it. While other personalities spend their lives trying to tame chaos, the Sigma male thrives inside it. Why? Because he's not afraid of disorder. He's wired for it. He understands that chaos isn't the enemy. It's the raw material of innovation. It's the storm you learn to surf, not a puzzle you try to solve. The Sigma male doesn't need a roadmap. He is the compass. He can adapt, pivot, rebuild, vanish, and re-emerge, all without missing a beat. Put him in a structured organization and he'll feel like a tiger on a treadmill. But toss him into a crisis, a startup, a battle zone of uncertainty, and he shines. That's where he becomes lethal. That's where his instincts override his doubts. While others panic and freeze, the Sigma sees the patterns in the chaos. He doesn't try to dominate it. He synchronizes with it. That's how he leads, not through force, but through flow. And that's exactly why control-based leadership suffocates him. Meetings, rules, SOPs, they kill his edge. Give him a mission, not a manual, a fire, not a forecast. Sigmas are anti-fragile. The more chaos you throw at them, the more they sharpen. You can't break a man who knows the storm is his natural state. 8. The Ghost Mentor. Leading from the shadows. Not all leaders want the spotlight. Some want results so badly they're willing to disappear to get them. That's the Sigma's style. He doesn't bark orders. He doesn't hang plaques. He doesn't need credit. In fact, he's most powerful when no one notices he's pulling the strings. This is shadow leadership, influence without ego. The Sigma guides by presence, by principle, by pure clarity of action. Others absorb his energy without even realizing it. They shift their tone, their posture, their attitude, because his example is stronger than any command. He trains without teaching. He inspires without preaching. He leads without demanding loyalty. Because he's not here to build followers, he's here to awaken other leaders. This is why the Sigma is often the mentor who vanishes. He shows up in your life like a spark, ignites something real, and then disappears before he's idolized. That's not flakiness, that's precision. The Sigma understands the most powerful form of leadership is the one that teaches you to lead yourself. The power exit strategy. Why he always walks away. Every Sigma has a silent timer ticking in his head. It starts the moment he takes on leadership. Whether it's a project, a movement, a team, sooner or later, the clock runs out. Because leadership for the Sigma is never about permanence, it's about ignition. He steps in to launch the rocket, not to sit in mission control. Once the system can run without him, or worse, when it begins to expect him to stick around, he's already halfway out the door. Not out of irresponsibility, out of design. You see, most leaders cling. The Sigma releases. And this exit strategy, it's not failure. It's the final stage of his leadership. Because staying too long breeds dependence. And the Sigma doesn't lead to make people depend on him. He leads so they don't have to. When the mission becomes politics, when the fire turns into a desk job, when leading becomes managing, he knows it's time to go. He'll walk away from the throne because he never needed the crown. That exit move, that's power. It's proof he wasn't in it for the status, the praise, or the identity. He was in it for the impact. And when the mission's done, he fades like smoke. 10. Ascender's Edge. What you can learn from this blueprint. Now here's where it hits home. Ascenders. You might not see yourself as a traditional leader. Maybe you've never wanted to be in charge. That doesn't mean you weren't born to lead. The Sigma blueprint isn't about commanding crowds. It's about commanding your space. It's about mastering your own code so deeply that others start adjusting theirs just to keep up. You don't need to run a company to be powerful. You don't need to dominate a room to be magnetic. You just need to own your rhythm, respect your instincts, and refuse to let anyone label your role. You want to lead? Lead with precision. Lead with minimal words and maximum movement. Lead by refusing to become a puppet for a system that fears disruption. This is the edge. Your influence is strongest when it's not trying to be. Remember, Ascenders, real leadership doesn't ask for followers. It creates freedom. So here's the raw truth. Ascenders. Sigma males don't avoid leadership. They reject its leash. They lead by blueprint, not by badge. And when the system tries to own them, they vanish, not in retreat, but in defiance. Because real power isn't staying in charge. It's knowing when to walk away without ever looking back. If this hit you in that untamed place inside, the place no one else sees, then you know what to do. Subscribe to Sigma Ascends. We don't follow paths, we blaze them. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sovereign, and never ask for permission to lead your own damn life.